U.S. Paralympians trained as college athletes. Together, they carried that spirit to the podium. Because Olympians aren't just made, they're made here.
Tenacity and compassion, I think, are the best two words to describe our law firm. We care about our clients, we're available for our clients, but we're also not going to take it from the insurance adjusters. We feel that the insurance company is both our clients, we're going to file a lawsuit. We have a lot of new associate attorneys who work for us that used to.
It's that time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
All right. Thank you very much. The Buddy Martin Singers back with us tonight. For a special occasion, it's always special when number 9 is in the house. You hear him every morning on somewhere, usually his own program, Put Up with Matthews. He's the QB, started all at Florida. I'll be up there in the Ring of Honor, is where he ought to be. We're glad to have him tonight, Shane Matthews. Even to you, Shane.
What's happening, buddy?
Well, I'm watching, I don't know why, this baseball game, but it's not, I won't ruin it for everybody else, but I just say to this point in time, probably don't bother. And but I want to say too, the brand of baseball they're playing at this level now is amazing. It's so fast, so quick, such good pitching, such good hitting. It's hard to tell it from what you used to call Class AA or Class A ball. So anyway, Florida hopefully next year can get back in it. Sully's got a new pitching coach, which is I'm assuming is about wrapped up. And here we go. See what we can do again next year because things are not going as well as we'd like. But let me just say that, bring this to you today. Shane, you're a man of influence. You have a lot of influence. I know when I tell you this, you'll say, oh, no, it's not me. But, gosh, why can't somebody do something? You know, Oklahoma, North Carolina playing for the College World Series. The rest of the world is taking or not taking. And we still don't have a president at the University of Florida. Now, I've done a little checking around, and we fully expected that to happen last week. It seems like there's somebody at the top, way above the top, not the president, holding up the confirmation of the guy, the only guy who actually was nominated for the job, but now they found another reason to hold it up. So, board trustees, you think that you used to tell me all the time, Shane, we can't really do anything in recruiting until we get our own building. Well, we got our own building. Now, how about we get a president? What could happen then?
I don't know if the president's going to have anything to do with football or sports.
He started did at Alabama when he was there.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know what he did there. I mean, obviously they won a lot in football when he was there. Whether that had anything to do with him or not, who knows? But I thought he was the president. I saw something tonight.
No, not yet. Close.
Okay.
It's very confusing. I called a couple of people, and they said, no, it's very close. But according to all the reports I read online, it's not done yet. Board trustees unanimously approved Dr. Stuart Bell as the 14th president, but the State University System Board of Governors indefinitely delayed his final confirmation. Governance dispute. State Board Chairman Alan Levine paused the vote, citing concerns that the UF Board of Trustees concentrated too much authority on its own chair, Maury Hosseini, who's the guy I'm told is the czar of the whole thing. He has a lot of power, according to what people tell me who cover it. So I don't know. Politics, it's not a good look. It's just not so good luck. And University administration, you have trustees are meeting to appoint Dr. Bell as an interim to keep the operation running smoothly while the governance disputes are addressed. Well, don't lose the guy. Just get it done, will you? Get it done. All right, Shane, I know you watched a lot of golf this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you have lots to say. And I want to center it around Wyndham Clark a little bit. Obviously, he was a winner. I know you probably know all about his background, the controversy he got into when he tore up the locker at Oakmont. And he's since tried to redeem himself. He brought it up again yesterday after the meet was over. So he was a machine. I mean, it's easy not to like the guy given his background. I guess I don't know him personally. I shouldn't say if I like him or not, but there was a lot of anti-Wyndham Clark out there. I mean, the whole crowd was against him. Shane, it seemed like, didn't it?
Well, because he was paired with Scotty, even though Scotty wasn't even in really contention.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't like that because there's different players you like. You're fans of different guys, but he's an American. Usually they heckle the
Right.
foreign players. Look, Wyndham Clark, he had a bad incident last year at the Open. He apologized for it. It is what it is. It's over with. I mean, that's nothing compared to what look, Tiger's one of the greatest of all time. Tiger's had way more issues than Wyndham Clark.
True.
Much worse issues than beating up a couple of doors in a locker room.
You're right. But he's Tiger.
That's fine. But
I know. I understand what you're saying. I get
Wyndham
it.
Clark's a two-time U.S. Open winner.
Yeah.
And he played his ass off. He had a couple of holes where things didn't go well, let people back in the tournament. I was hoping Sam Burns would win.
Boy, he played good. He really played well.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Kim played well. He hasn't played well in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was a great tournament. I don't like the fairways that big. I know they still struggled, but that's ridiculous to have fairways that big in a U.S. Open.
Yeah, they widened them all a little bit this year, and the average is 46, I believe.
That's crazy, buddy. Think about it. The average. I mean, some of them were 50-something yards wide.
Well, it's kind of an admission that the course is somewhat unfair, and as you saw, so many shots hit to the greens that didn't hold. And that's what you're dealing with on this golf course, and they knew that. I thought they did a pretty good job of holding it together, but so many good shots were and those little pebbles. I never heard about those little pebbles in the bunkers before.
You can move them.
I understand if you can see them. If they're under your ball, you can't see them. You can't do anything. But anyway, yeah, that was. I do think it was. For whatever reason, I never got into the tournament. I guess I wanted Scotty to be in it.
Well, he was in it. He was in the final.
I get it, but he just couldn't pull the trigger. He couldn't quite get there.
I thought it was a great tournament. There's just so many good players on the PGA Tour now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It was a long tournament. I'll put it that way. Man, oh man, oh man. I started watching it way in the morning before when the dew sweepers teed off. And you get into that 10th, 11th hour, that's just too much for one of anything, let alone golf. So I did watch it. And we'll see. But I want to make a point on the whole thing with Wyndham Clark. If you look in history, and I've lived it, so I know it's true, and you go back far enough, there are many cases where a player's unpopularity can work to his advantage. Do you realize how much Jack Nicklaus was hated when he beat Arnold Palmer?
No, I had no idea.
Oh, he was hated. He was called Ohio Fats. He was 22 years old and beat the King, who was just a really popular guy. And they didn't forgive him. And he was overweight and looked sloppy and whatever. And then he got called every name in the book. But you know what he did? He changed. Back in those days when people started growing out their hair and changing their wardrobe and losing weight, Jack became a different person. And I lived it with him, and I remember it. He also made a real effort to remember the names of the media people he was talking to. So if he was the Masters and there were 85 people there who were interviewing him afterwards, they came up to talk, he probably would know the names of 60 of them. Nobody does that. He would say, well, Shane, let me tell you this. And he'd throw their name in there. And he did a masterful job of that. And he learned, Mark McCormick taught him that, about how to win the people back. And he did it through using the media. And these coaches and other people were smart. They'd take that and say, hey, this is how you use the media to your advantage. If you want to get your, if you want to get your message out there and whatever, use it. And Jack became a master, and he was my all-time favorite. Now, another guy who used it was Terry Bradshaw. I mean, he got a new book out, by the way, not the one I wrote, the one I wrote 20 years ago, but some of the same subjects are in it. And that is that he was dumb. He was called dumb by a lot of people. And instead of running and hiding with it, he embraced it. And he played it off really well. And he became this really delightful personality, the dumb quarterback, and made fun of himself. And you look at his stardom, how much money he makes. I think if you're smart, I don't know if I could do it or not, if I got that angry at the media for calling me fat and dumb, which I'm both. But I think that's how you play it off, Shane.
Yeah, I don't think Wyndham Clark was worried about the fans or the media or what, because he apologized several months ago, and he went out and kicked everybody's ass on the golf course, and he's holding the trophy.
Yeah, it wasn't that easy, but yeah, you're right. He did do that, and it does. It will wind you down. It will grind you down eventually. Well, I think taking a proactive stance and doing something about it, and realizing the media can be utilized to your favor, is very important. So anyway, that's so. Any final thoughts on the U.S. Open and the next tournament coming up?
The next tournament is the British Open.
Correct.
In July at some point. I don't know, middle of July, I guess. And I think Shinnecock's a great golf course. I've never played there, but I wish they would play the U.S. Open on more traditional golf courses, because it looks too much like a British Open course, a link style. Next year it's at Pebble Beach, and they're going to have to do something to Pebble Beach to make it hard. I'm telling you. Because those guys tear it up during that Pro-Am. I know they'll set it up differently. Yeah. But it's not long. It's got small greens. If you hit greens at Pebble Beach, you probably have at most a 25-foot. A bad shot has a 25-foot birdie. So they're going to have to speed them up, grow the rough, and there's rough and tight fairways are what gives professional golfers a problem.
Well, you played there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, the wind blows, it's a whole different situation.
Yeah, but they can control the wind. They cannot control when you got 3.5 to 4 inch rough and 18-yard fairways.
Well, they can't control the wind, but they can.
Well, they could right. Well, they can when they hit certain shots. These guys are so damn good.
I thought you meant the golf course.
No, the golf course can't, but they can control the height of the rough and the width of the fairways.
Yeah, I love Pebble Beach. I just love it. Love covering the opens there. I was there when Tiger tore it up. And back saw Jack. I love Pebble Beach. And but I want to get to a couple other things real fast, and we'll be joined by the voice of the Jacksonville Jaguars here, Frank Franchi, in just a second, to talk about this whole thing with the how the whole presidential thing appears to people from the outside. It's a bad look. They can't seem to settle on a person to lead it. And I don't know who's making that decision, why they keep putting it off, why they stall it in committee. I'm not sure who's behind it. And I wish you'd use your influence to find out, will you?
Buddy, I haven't even thought about it 1 minute.
I know, that's why I'm asking you to think about it.
But I wouldn't even know who to call. And like I said, whoever the president of the University of Florida is, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm living in a different world, but it doesn't affect me in any way. And none of my circle of people have even discussed it.
Well, we're discussing it now.
Yeah.
And this guy's going to discuss it with us because he knows people up there too, including the head ball coach, Frank Frangie. Say good evening to Shane.
Shane, how you doing? By the way, Shane, see this? You see
Yeah.
it? That's the hole in one, Shane. I don't know if you saw that or not, right?
Oh,
You see the ball?
I see the ball. I had to put my glasses on.
I haven't shown Shane my hole in one ball yet, buddy.
So who made a hole in one?
It was 30. I did, bro. 36 years in the making. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Shane, how many do you have? You got a bunch, right?
I have two.
Two. Okay. All right. So there you go. So there you go. How you boys doing?
We're doing
Pretty
okay.
good.
I'm trying to get Shane to help me out on this thing with the president and the fact
That's the last thing on my mind. I want to win football games. I don't give a damn about the
well, it's
president.
not. We can't do anything about the football games. They aren't here yet.
Well, we can't do anything about the president or winning
Yes,
football
we can.
games.
We can bring
But
it
the
up.
football games are more important to me.
We can bring it up and complain about it, and the fact that it's a tacky look. They can't seem to get a president. Now they're stuck. He's the only one who's been qualified. He's in committee, and now they've delayed the vote again. Frank, do you know about that?
Well, we all know about it. We all follow. I'm like Shane. I don't know how much. I don't know, probably know a lot of details. Just what, like everybody else, buddy. What I read is the Board of Trustees recommends Stuart Bell, and the Board of Governors hasn't yet passed it. Now, by the way, that's just the thesis statement. Everybody else knows about that. Here's what I don't know. I'm like Shane. I'm like you. I don't know much about this stuff. What I do know is this guy is a sports-centric guy, the one they're trying to get in. So I hope. I don't know a good president from a bad president. What I do know is that Stuart Bell he was there with all those Saban years, and winning football games matters to him. I'm with Shane on this. I care mostly about did they win the game, but I think this guy will help him win the game. So I hope he gets in. That's all I got, buddy. That's about as deep as
that's good. That's good. Now I will bring in the fact I know two families who had their kids who enrolled in Alabama in the last year, and have dealt with Stuart Bell and really like him and personally dealt with him, and pointed out the fact that their monies for their tuition has gone through the roof. They've made a lot of out of state tuition, which I know is a sore subject for some Gator fans. But bottom line is that he comes off in every respect that I know of, with the people I know who dealt with him, as being A+, A+, A+. I'm saying if this is the right guy, don't let him get away, for crying out loud. That's all. And guys like you two guys who are very influential can get out and start raising Cain about it.
buddy. I'm not even influential in my home, bro. Okay, so I'm not particularly influential, but
well, I know that, but that's different.
But I'm like you. I hope Stuart Bell becomes the president. I think he's a very sports-centric guy, and I hope it happens.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's holding things up. That's what it's doing. I mean, you're sitting here now with a football coach that we would agree right now we wouldn't rather have anybody else. I know Lane Kiffin for Shane, but I think we're pretty happy, Frank, with the football coach we got, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. Who knows who can coach and not, right, buddy? And Shane, until you see him coach, you don't know. But I'll say this. All you can do is what you've done. I'm astounded. And I told him this. I mean, I had John on because everybody that's ever done a show has had John on. He's been on every show, every podcast.
He's not been on mine.
You didn't ask him.
How's it not been on yours? How'd that happen?
He never asked.
I'm waiting.
No.
I want the guy to go do what he's got to do. I don't want to get in the way because, I mean, he's great. I absolutely love the guy. He's the most normal,
Right.
just dude that I've ever been around as a head football coach.
That's the best way to say it. He's a regular guy. And I think the school's done a good job of this, buddy. They realize they got a regular guy that's going to connect with people. So put him out everywhere. And like I said, we'll see if he's a good coach. I hope he is. But everything else he's done, connecting with the boosters, recruiting a lot of good players, connecting with his current players, saying the energy. And hey, Shane, you know him. I've just had him on the air. I don't know him. But people like you that know him all say the same thing. He's a regular guy. He's a guy you'd like to have a beer with. And people connect with him. And again, I don't follow recruiting real close, but you don't have to follow it very closely to figure out they're tearing it up this summer, right? And I mean, the recruitniks know way more than I do, buddy. but golly, it seems like he's getting everybody because I think people connect with him. So if he's a good coach, that's the final part, right? It's also the most important part. I think he's checked every other box. He's around. He loves the Gators. He's a regular guy. Players like him. High school coaches like him. Fans can't get enough of him. So when you didn't get Kiffin, you needed to find a way to get a guy that would electrify the crowd somehow. And I'm not sure how he's done it, but he has. So we'll see. Right now he's undefeated. He's also winless. But I like who I think he is. I think that's what Shane's saying. I like who I think this guy is.
Well, we've all been around a few years, and we know what the BS line is, and we have ways of testing it. And when there's certain people and who say certain things, and we trust and believe them. And what I'm hearing from a lot of people who are off the beaten path, what they're hearing about him and how much his word means, how he's the real deal. There's a genuine excitement there that I haven't seen in Florida. Now, I will say the first year I had him with Mullen, I thought he was going to bring it back, but I think it's going extremely well. So I'm just setting the scenario to say, okay, you got a coach that you right now we're all agreeing he's a good man to have, right? It's poised. It's like I tell Shane all the time, I can't tell you what he's going to do, but I can't tell you what the blue chips are going to do in the stock market. But I don't get to know what they're going to do. I have to go buy them to find out. So I think we have a pretty good preview of what this guy might be about from what we've heard. And more I've seen him, the more I like him. And so he's leaving a really good footprint. And then you add that in with that momentum and the recruiting and I think Troutwine's going to be a real great plus for him because the offensive line is a place where he's going to need the help. But I think his football team, I'm not ready to say it, but they're looking at 8 wins very possibly. And now we add the basketball team in there, all right? My gosh, how could you not be in love with that? This will bring you back of the old national champions, right? Getting the band back together. It's going to be so much fun. And if you had a president now, you'd have it all tied in a package. You'd be ready to move forward. So you two guys of influence, use your influence and get the deal done with the president. Will you please?
I'll let Frank handle all that.
Thanks for that, Shane.
There
I'll say this. Seriously say this. If football's good, the athletic program's in a really good spot. All right. I mean, obviously basketball is great. We'll see how far is it one of the best 2 or 3 programs in the country today. Softball's always great. Baseball didn't make it out of the Super. They've got a good program. All the Olympic sports are good. I think there's energy. I think the facilities are back up to speed. I think there's the swamp renovation. You guys have probably talked more about it than I have. I've just read a little bit about it. But to your point, buddy, if football's good, if football comes back, I can't imagine the athletic department being in any better shape than it is right now. So
I think that's well said. I do think it's well said. Yeah, so we'll find out, but it looks good right now. Look, how about some pretty good kudos there for the basketball program. Dusty May, who came from obviously Mike White's tree, being named the head coach of Dallas. How about that?
Yeah, well, I'll say this, and Shane, jump in here too. I'm surprised they're hiring college coaches anymore. They haven't had one since Beeline 10 years ago, who's a disaster. Billy Donovan did okay. Love Billy. But Patino and Calipari and Mike Montgomery and Leonard Hamilton and Lon Kruger, and they were all lousy in the NBA after being good college coaches. I'm surprised they hired a college guy. Almost every team now, and think about this, almost every team in every pro sport now hires the hot assistant. Football, basketball, Major League Baseball, you hire the hot assistant. So good for Dusty, but I'm surprised they hired a college guy because nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, I didn't even know the Mavericks needed a coach, quite honestly. I don't really follow the NBA, but I don't blame Dusty for taking it because I think that until they get college athletics under wraps,
that's right.
Who wants to deal with the NIL and the portal? And now he built his team last year. Every kid came from the portal pretty much, but I would not want that headache to deal with every day.
I get it.
Now you can just go coach basketball.
Yeah, I'm with you, Shane. I don't question why Dusty would want the job. I just question Why NBA teams don't? It never works. When the college guy gets to the league, it never works in the NBA. And I'm not smart enough to know why. But I mean, there's almost like no exceptions, are there? I mean, does anybody ever? And Billy Donovan's a wonderful coach. And
Yeah, I mean, Brad Stevens, I don't know if he had success and then said, you know what, I'm going to the front office. I can't remember.
yeah, well, not great success. I mean,
No, and he wasn't there very long as the head coach.
no, and so it just doesn't work. So no, I don't blame Dusty. College sports are a mess right now. And by the way, all those guys I mentioned, Kruger, Calipari, Patino, Mike Montgomery, all of them, they went and got life-changing money now. Okay, so they went and got set for life after 3 or 4 years, and then came back to college and did pretty well. So maybe that's it. Maybe Dusty goes and gets set for life with a bunch of multi-million-dollar contracts, and you look up and he's the coach of Kansas in 5 years. You know,
Can't blame him for that.
I wasn't surprised at all.
You know, I didn't know this. He was started out as a student manager for Bob Knight, Indiana.
That's right.
Boy, Indiana sure had a charmed existence in the recent months and years, right? All their history coming back from on their side with football team doing so well. So, yeah. Well, it looks like it's going well for them. We're going to get France on here in a minute. We'll go over the recruiting, and apparently it's really lining up great, as we said before. What about some of these players flipping? You guys been following that at all?
Honestly, buddy, I don't follow recruiting at all.
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
What I do
I don't either.
We're getting a bunch of guys. That's what I can tell you. There's my insight for you. There's my insight.
And buddy, you know good and well, no matter how the season goes, I don't know how many guys we have verbally committed to us, but they all don't usually stay committed.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll say this, and Shane knows this better than anybody. No matter how many commit to you, if your team's lousy, they're not coming. Okay, they're all I mean, if you go 3-9, they're going to all decommit, or that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
But and if you're committed, you want to go to Florida, and then the team's pretty good, and that's more reason to stay. But I'll say this, and Shane, you and I've had this conversation. If they complete some dang passes, which is Shane's bugaboo, well, then not only are you going to be good, but it's a fun place to play, and people are talking about it. And you know why Indiana's going to – everyone's talking about Indiana. They talk about Mendoza and all the passes he completed, so now they got all the portal guys. So you got to do your part when the game's being played to keep those guys in the fold. So it looks like it's going to be fun. I mean, I know a handful of people, Shane's among them, that have been to a practice or two, and Shane, the ball doesn't hit the ground as much as it used to, right? Isn't that kind of what we're hoping?
Yeah. We talked about Troutwine, but I think the biggest hire he made was Buster Faulkner. I think Buster's outstanding. I think he might be the best coordinator in the country. He knows he has tremendous talent at the skill positions. And look, he's done a little bit of everything. He's responsible for Stetson Bennett's back-to-back national title run at Georgia. You saw what Haynes King and Georgia Tech did under him, but he wants to throw the football. They will run it, but he knows I got dudes on the outside. He believes he's got quarterbacks that can get them the ball and get the ball to them accurately where they can run after the catch. That's what excites me, the skill and the play call.
And I'll say this about Faulkner, to Shane, to your point, and Buddy, to Shane's point. I know a lot of folks in Athens. I mean, I've done a lot of work up there. I covered them for a year. I've called a lot of their games before I was doing Jaguars games, and I got to know folks. When he was the quarterbacks coach and Todd Monken was the coordinator at the time Shane's talking about, they won back-to-back titles. When Monken left, they went and got Mike Bobo, who's a former head coach and Bulldog and a buddy of Kirby's. But people in Athens weren't happy because they knew Buster Faulkner was going to be a star. Their second worst nightmare ever was for him to go to Georgia Tech, okay? That was the second worst nightmare they could have ever had. The worst nightmare they could have had is him go to Georgia Tech for a few years and then go to Florida. So I can tell you the people in Athens, Shane, to your point, have confirmed everything you just said. That there was this myth out there, buddy, that, well, he just ran the ball. The quarterback ran it all the time, So that was the myth until people got to know him. So wait a minute, he's really more of an air raid guy. He was with Mummy and Leach. That's how he likes to play. He's from Valdosta. He just ran the ball because he had a quarterback that did that better. I agree with you, Shane. I think I get this hunch that they're going to complete a lot of passes. You got to. I mean, it's great if you hit a deep one every now and then, but you got to complete a lot of passes. And you made a great point too. And who would know that better than Shane, who won the League Player of the Year twice in a row because you did this. It's not just complete it, but it's complete it where they're catching it on the run and can make yards after the catch, right?
Yes.
So no, that's a great point. That's a really good point. I do get the hunch that that's all part of this. Now, you got to go do it. Third week of the year when you go to Auburn, you got to do it at night in Jordan-Hare with 90,000 people there. But, yeah, I think that's what you're going to see. I agree with you, Shane. I think Buster Faulkner was the big hire, and they got him, and I think that's a big deal.
And here's the thing is, if it goes the way I think it can go in the next year, maybe two, he ain't going to be our offensive coordinator.
That's right. And everybody knows that. And when you hire a really good coordinator, you always have that risk. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, my buddy Jeff Dantzler, who's now the play-by-play voice of Georgia, he was there. He did baseball and other sports, and now he got the job as a football guy. Now, one of my really good friends, he told me during the last silly season, don't be surprised if Buster Faulkner pops up as a head coach. And I said, Jeff, I don't know if that's going to happen or not because I think Florida's going to try and hire him as a coordinator. He goes, well, that'd be a great hire, but I've heard he's in at least for some of the smaller jobs. Well, to your point, Shane, he didn't get one then, but Florida goes to wins 8 or 9 games, and Aaron Philo or Tramel Jones or whoever has a big year. I agree with you. It might be 1 year, man. You know,
Right.
It's not going to be very long. I agree with that.
Yeah, I want to talk for a second about a player. Every now and then you strike on somebody. How could you not love Tommy Hoff, right? That you just think is so special. And Shane will tell you, I've always loved this guy, and I love him even more now. And I think he's poised for a huge year. He may be the best player at that position in the country, maybe. Jaden Ball. He is incredible. We've not even seen the most. We've not seen the maximum of him yet. There's more in that tank. He's the strongest man on the team. He's fast. I contend he could be a fantastic tight end because he can catch the ball really well too. And people laughed me down. Then I saw a guy wrote a column the day before yesterday about, hey, watch for them Jaden Ball to catch more passes this year. We'll see. But I love Jaden Ball. But let me just present it to you like this, Frank. Supposing they lined up, got the ball open against whoever they were, let's say they're playing Auburn, and they got the ball in their own 20, and they started handing the football off to Jaden Ball, number 13, mixing a few little bubble screens, and go down the field 80-something yards in about 12 plays with Jaden Ball touching the ball about 15 times. And they say, okay, stop that. That is a fierce weapon to have. When you can run the ball down the throats of people, and I think they can, depending on the offensive line, Shane, I know what you're thinking, if they can get it fixed, this could become a different offense. Now you got Buster Faulkner. Now you got the QB. Now you got a situation where you got some weapons, and we hadn't even talked to VB3 and all this guys they got. If they can run the ball, my gosh, what can they do throwing the ball?
Yeah, I got a question about all that. Shane and Buddy, weigh in on this because you guys are there more than I am. Obviously, they've got skill. I mean, Vernell Brown and Dallas Wilson, Eric Singleton and Ball, we all know that. The whole country knows they've got skill. And my guess is he's going to have one of those quarterbacks ready to play. I'm guessing it's Philo just because he came in and knows the system. But I don't know anything about the line. When I had John on, he pretty much told me that's a position that concerns him. Now, that was 2 months ago. Shane, what about it? Will the line be any good? I really don't know that.
Well, look, Troutwine's got kind of a track record. He brought a couple of his guys from Penn State that are going to be penciled in to play. They brought a lot of transfers in. I think when you get a good, smart offensive coordinator, they're going to make it work, if that makes any sense.
It does.
If we're struggling at the left tackle position, we're not going to drop back and hold the football to hit deep balls.
Yeah.
Jaden Ball is going to put his helmet in that defender's rib cage. They're going to help the left tackle. Summerall called the offensive line out after the spring game and said, look, if we want to have the year we want to have, offensive line's got to get better from now till August. And I don't know how much you can get better, but I think they can piece it together, and play calling can hide some weaknesses at times. But I think they can be dynamic on offense here. I'm a big believer the offense is going to be very good.
I did, and to your point, and you were in the NFL, you weren't around as much watching it, but I can tell you, buddy, I think you remember this. I'm trying to remember where you were.
The Great Wall.
No. I'm talking about the 96 team that was so good, 95.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Ryan Kalick, and I'm going to make a lot of people mad, by the way, but Ryan Kalick and Wiley Rich and Deke Story.
But here's the thing, Frank. They didn't have the two.
Right?
They didn't even have the two starting tackles against FSU. Come on in there, friends. He knows this guy. They didn't have their starting tackles against FSU.
That's Shane's point. Is you can call your way around that a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Shane?
and here's the thing too: is if you're, when quarterbacks get sacked, the first thing the average fan says, the offensive line sucks. Well, it could be the quarterback's fault.
That's right.
Quarterback may be holding on to it, not knowing where to go with the football. Buster, being a former quarterback himself, Joe Craddock, the quarterback coach, was a quarterback at Georgia Tech. The ball is going to come out. They're going to know where to go with the football. That's what I saw in the spring. They knew where to go with it. They threw accurate. That's all you need. So I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Franz has done a little homework on this subject about if they put this offensive line together, and I think he might be able to educate us. Franz, what is it? You wrote a little something for me last week. I used it in my column about who the other spots are in question and what's going on with that.
Well, the key word is going to be mobility. He's got people who can move, so he's going to be able to move the pocket around, and Buster likes to get the ball out of the hands of the quarterback in a hurry. People think of, as Shane pointed out earlier, and I think Frank also, they pointed out that they think it's all run. Georgia Tech averaged 8.6 yards per pass attempt last year. And there's a lot of people who say that yards per pass attempt is the single most important stat in all of college football. Well, and the pros. Florida, on the other hand, averaged 6.6 yards per attempt. And they threw an awful lot of completions to the other team while they were doing it. Buster likes to get the ball out in a hurry, and he likes to spread the field and make the linebackers get in coverage. Because if the linebackers are in coverage, that means you're dealing with a 5-on-5 situation most of the time. So your running game's going to go good. Well, and that usually opens things up for the quarterback to run the ball as well, which happened a lot at Georgia Tech, because now all of a sudden at Georgia Tech, they've got to account for Haynes King. So they bring another linebacker into the box, and you've got two guys out there who have single coverage for receivers. I like Florida's odds if they've got a lot of guys. If they got two guys getting single coverage, Frank is right. They're going to complete an awful lot of passes.
Shane, you agree with that?
Yeah, offensive football is a numbers game. And if your quarterback understands where to go with the football and can be accurate, can anticipate the same thing I say every freaking day. I don't ever talk about how strong some dude's arm is or can he run the quarterback power and run over the middle linebacker. Throw completions and things will take care of itself.
Amen.
Yeah, that's true. France, who are some of those offensive linemen that you think might show up?
Well, I think the most important offensive lineman they brought in was Harrison Moore, who was Buster's center at Georgia Tech. And, you're replacing an all-world center in Jake Slaughter. And you better be bringing in a guy that, first off, can handle a nose tackle by himself, doesn't need help. And this guy can do that. And he's very, very mobile as well. And so apparently, from everything I've read, he's like a 4.0 student, which is a lot like Jake. Very, very cerebral guy that's not going to get fooled by what he sees on the defensive line. He was the most important guy. They got Najee Harris coming in there, who started some of his freshman year, but has started his last two. They've got Sturdivant, who was with Troutwine up there in
Penn State.
Penn State. And the question is going to be at the tackles.
The
Caden
guy
Jones.
from California, right?
Well, you got Caden Jones out there. You got the guy who came in from Stanford.
Stanford, yeah.
But here's the guy that I think is the wild card in this bunch, and that's Fletcher Westfall. And we forget about him because he broke his wrist last year and didn't get to play. But here's a guy that's like 6'8", 355 pounds, and is very, very mobile. And if he comes through and can play at the level that they have anticipated he could play the last couple of years and can stay injury free, then they've got their left tackle.
Yeah.
So I think they've got the potential to be good. The question is, it's potential is such a misused word because you still got to get out there and do it on the field.
Well, having said that, let's ask these two guys before they go, if that all happens the way you say it is, and they're confident, I'm not saying they have to be stars, how good can this team be? And then you look at the over-under on wins. What's Florida, 8, 7.5? 7.5? Yeah, 7.5. Do we go over or under on that right now, Frank?
8.5's the number.
8.5 is okay.
I'd probably go under if it's 8.5. First year, tough schedule. Georgia, Texas, all of them at Auburn. I'd probably go under. Ole Miss, I think, is going to be really good. But I will tell you, I said it earlier about the offensive line. I'll say things about the interior of the defensive line. If the defensive tackles are good, and I don't know that they are, we'll see. If the offensive line is good, I do think they're good about everywhere else. We talked about the offensive skill, about Baugh, the running back. You talked about, there's a lot of people that would like to have Miles Graham and Aaron Childs and Jaden Robinson and Jaden Woods. And I think they're good on the periphery of both offense and defense. I don't have a great feel about the defensive tackle spot. I hated that they lost Mekhi Barrow. I thought he was the one 350-pound guy that made a difference. But no, I think they have a chance. Look, they've got a good team. They've got a good team. He looks like he's a good coach. I agree with Shane. The coordinators are good. Look, there's a lot of newness, right? Auburn's got a brand new staff. And I said this on my show today. I think there's more uncertainty in college football than there's ever been. Indiana won the national championship, for crying out loud.
Yeah, really.
What are we doing? So I think there's more uncertainty. And there's no automatics. Georgia's going to be good. Ohio State's going to be good. I know that. But I don't buy Texas yet. I know Arch Manning's supposed to be great, but I haven't seen it yet. So there's so many uncertainties, buddy, in college football, more than there's ever been. There's more good teams. There's more teams in the tournament. So Florida could be 10-2. They also could be 6-6. But I think they've got the thing headed in the right direction. And I can tell you this, and you started, at least when I came on, you started this part of the conversation with us. There's a general belief in Gator Nation that they've got this thing headed in the right direction. Right. But I don't remember it feeling quite like this in a long time before a season. I really don't. Maybe 21 after they had the really good 20 season. Maybe that's the last time it felt like this. But I think there's positivity in the fan base that is pretty clear and kind of pretty cool. It really is.
I think that sums it up nicely. Shane, I'll give you your shot, and you can also tell us over or under 8.5, and I'll let you go.
Is it 8.5? I thought
it was 7.5.
Number's lower, but if it was 8.5, I said I'd go under. If it was 7.5,
if it's 7.5, I'll go over.
Yeah,
I'll go with 8. 8 win. I don't know what's going to happen. I kind of got out of the predicting records and all that kind of stuff. I just I'm never right. I like the staff. I like the team from what I've seen. You still got to go out and win games. Look, everybody in the SEC is good. There's no cakewalks. I guess FAU could be a cakewalk and Campbell. Other than that, you better buckle your chin strap no matter who you're playing, because everybody's pretty solid in the Southeastern Conference now. So I'm excited. Time will tell, but I think Coach Summerall has a lot of his track record. He's done really well as a head coach everywhere he's been. Now he's going to be a big-time coach, but I think he's embracing that. And the dude kind of just says what's on his mind, and I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna look at what the latest thing I got here. Let's see here what I had it here today earlier about the over under on it. Anyway, I thought I saw it at 7.5. Frank says 8.5.
No, I don't think it's 8 now. I thought you guys said that. I think the number's around 7.5.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm 7.5. I might go over it. So, all right. Well, thank you, Frank, and thank you, Shane and friends. Hang around. We got to do a commercial and come back and get your final basketball thoughts here, friends. And thanks, Frank. Don't forget to catch him. When are you on that? I never can tell what days you're on.
4 to 6, Monday through Thursday. No more Fridays, buddy. I'm too old.
More Friday. All right. I know about you follow
You're
my
still
lead.
a puppy, Frank.
Yeah.
4 to 6, Monday through Thursday. Thanks,
Shane,
fellas.
Shane will be on tomorrow morning. He's got a superstar for a guest.
That's right, you buddy.
See you tomorrow morning. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it. All right, friends, let's be sure and tell these folks about our good friends at Meldon Law, who've been such great friends of ours and also great Gators. We'd like to say if you need a lawyer, you want someone you can trust and someone who is a Gator, if that matters to you. And I couldn't tell you anybody better than Meldon Law. They're doing a terrific job. They're growing all the time. They already got an office in South Florida, over 50 attorneys. And I think they were, I think you'll be pleased with their help as I am. And I got to tell you, they're good people and they're good lawyers. Check them out. Meldon Law, they won't back down. France Beard, hoop, 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 hoop.
Well, I can tell you one thing that the college world got shook up a little bit today when Dusty May.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier today. Yeah, we talked about that.
I'm a little surprised by it, and yet I'm not. The amount of money they're throwing around at him, I think that's probably played into it. And you got to remember 2008, just 9 years ago. 2018, he was Mike White's assistant here at Florida.
Yeah.
And
started out with Bobby Knight. You know that, right?
Yeah. He was Bobby Knight's manager.
Yeah.
He was a good high school basketball player himself in Bloomfield, Indiana, and then went to IU and just was an absolute sponge there. But you look at what he's done as a head coach. He took Florida Atlantic to the Final Four and to 59 wins. 59 or 60 wins in the last two seasons he was there. And then he's like 64-13 at Michigan. This guy knows how to coach.
Yeah.
The real question is that I think for anybody who goes to the NBA, it's kind of like I was with Rick Pitino watching high school kids, and we were at this tournament in Oglethorpe University, home of the Stormy Petrels in Atlanta. And Buddy, he tells me, he says, here's what soured me on the NBA. I'm sitting there thinking, I need to sub in this guy. But if I do this and I pick this guy over this guy, then somebody's feelings are going to get hurt and he's going to pout. And and when I put him into the game, he's going to hurt me because he sat there pouting and worrying about himself. And he thinks he ought to be starting anyway. And on and on. The problem that you deal with, it's not the basketball itself. Great coaches understand the basketball part. And, like Billy Donovan's a great coach. The problem that you deal with in the NBA is dealing with the egos. And the egos, you're talking about grown men who have these huge egos and the sensitivity of a 3-year-old. And it's a real issue in there because you get a lot of these guys that they've been the stud all their life. High school, junior high school, AAU ball, college, they were the man. And they come to the NBA and they're on a team with 11 other guys, 12 other guys who were the same thing. The stud guy from high school, junior high, high school, AAU, everything. And now all of a sudden, you've always been the stud, but so is everybody else. And only 5 guys get on the floor at a time. So it's dealing with the egos that's going to be the hard part for Dusty. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think Billy Donovan's going to come back to college coaching. I really believe that he's going
That'd be
to.
great. Be great.
And I think it's
As long
going
as
to be
it's
at
not
the
gonna
University of Kentucky.
That's too bad. I don't want him to go to Kentucky. That's the thing. Yeah, that's true.
But I'll tell you another place he could go. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Self retires after this year. Bill's got heart issues.
Yeah.
And I think he's grown weary of dealing with the health and the heart. And then, you got these kids like, Darren Peterson, who's an enormous talent, but my gosh, the guy's a head case.
Yeah. Let's talk about recruiting for a second. And I think they're saying now that Florida, even with all the shuffling around and the decommits, that they have an elite class.
Yeah.
And that, Maxwell Hiller is a 5-star interior offensive lineman, a top-ranked player. That's always helped. Blue chip wise, Florida boasts one of the deepest collection of blue chip talent, with 12 featuring 12 starters next season, or so SCs next season. Then the key pledge being, of course, the quarterback Davin Davidson from Andrew and running back Andrew Beard. There's a lot of names that I don't know these days. I'm stumbling over, but they're telling me and they're writing that they've done very well in recruiting. And if this holds up, they could have a banner year. Is that accurate?
Yeah, very accurate. And here's the thing that people don't realize. John Summerall, the class that he had lined up at Tulane, every single one of them that he had committed signed with Tulane, even though he went to Florida. He comes to Florida. He's got 18 guys committed, and 16 of the 18 came to Florida, and only 2 got away. That tells me something, that the guy's got this ability to preach loyalty and have guys say, I believe. What's that? Mm-hmm. Remember that? That
oh, yeah, famous song.
Well, not only that, you got the big sign up in Ted Lasso, believe, but he gets guys to believe. And that's half the battle in when you're talking about dealing with 18, 19-year-old kids.
Well, it's actually true of every squad. It's more so because there's so many of them, and there's not enough time. You can get on the field in football. You can't get on the floor in basketball. You just can't. It's not enough, Not enough. It's just not enough. So, but we'll see. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that plays off. Let's see here now. Did you follow any of the U.S. Open at all?
Yes, I did. And what Scotty Scheffler, over in the tournaments I've watched, starting with the Masters, I don't know anybody that's missed more putts by 1 inch.
Yeah, he has.
In my life. He just cannot seem to get one to drop. And yesterday, I counted 5 different times that he missed a putt by 1 inch or 2 inches when it slides by.
Yeah.
And, you think about it. He hits 2 or 3 of those, and it's a totally different game.
I have a theory about that. He's so exact and precise that when you get the Poana and you get the little stones of the green, if they throw the ball off a millimeter or 2, that's all it needs to throw him off. I know everybody else has to do the same thing, but he, to me, is more of a precision player and putter, great short game. And he had a lot of things lip out, close putts he missed, like you say. You're right. He didn't play as well. So,
well, it's kind of like Saturday. He's got a chance on 16 for an eagle. He's 1-2, 13 feet 1 inch away, and the ball hits the side of the cup and goes and kind of changes direction a little bit and goes by. So an eagle becomes a birdie, and you think about that. What could that eagle? How could that have impacted?
Huge. It's huge.
And then he comes up. I think it was on the next hole. He ends up with a 3-putt because he misses. He misses the comebacker. He misses and the second putt, and he's got to. Yeah, I mean, he misses the first putt. He's got to putt this far, and he misses that. It rolls by, and he did that at the Masters as well. He let one of those things get away, and we forget. We expect such precision out of these guys. We expect almost perfection out of these guys, and then you start seeing them like. How remarkable would it have been if Scheffler could have come back based on the
well, I kept thinking he might do. I thought he might do it. That's what I kept hanging on for.
Look at how many times he is forced to scramble and make something out of nothing. He's pretty amazing when it comes to that. And I think he's probably harder on himself than anybody else, which is why he has the struggles. I think if he could just, what's that line from Tin Cup? Sometimes par is a pretty good score. And I think sometimes you got to accept pars. And
especially in the U.S. Open, played at Shinnecock.
Yeah. I think sometimes you just have to accept a par and move on and say, that's the best it's going to be on this hole today. Yeah. And you can't let what happened on, for example, on 16 affect you on 17. Yeah, which obviously happened yesterday. I mean, Saturday was Scheffler, and it happened a couple of times on Sunday as well. You just golf is a game that is very, very unforgiving, in that you cannot let what happened in the past
carry over,
dictate your now and
that's true.
And your future.
Can't carry over with you, that's for sure.
And I think that's a big thing. I think he thinks this is going to be a year when Scotty has to, when the whole regular season is over and they play in Atlanta, I think he's going to have to settle down, take a look at what he's doing, and reevaluate, maybe even reinvent himself to some respect.
Could be. France Britt, as usual, great stuff. You can read him on GatorBait. He's always got good stories up there. There's nobody better in basketball. He does also great on football. Check him out, France Britt, GatorBaitMedia.com. Thank you, Francis. Have a good night, buddy.
Thank you, buddy. Take care, bud.
It's that time again for Buddy Marcus. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's due